Hitler built a fortress around Europe. The Japanese surrounded themselves with deadly coral reefs. They said an invasion was impossible because armies can't walk on water. You clicked this video looking for the hovercrafts of World War II, but here is the reality check. The hovercraft as we know it didn't exist yet. But the US military had something even grittier. They built a fleet of mechanical monsters that could swim through 10-foot swells, drive over razor-sharp reefs, and deliver tanks directly into the face of enemy fire. These weren't delicate air-cushion vehicles. These were steel-clad amphibious. From the seagoing Jeep to the swimming tank, we're counting down the top 10 amphibious vehicles that filled the hovercraft role and actually won the war. And you'll want to stick around for number 1 because we found the only classified experimental US prototype from the 1940s that actually floated on air. Number 10. The Ford GPA Seep. Kicking off at number 10, it's the Ford GPA, nicknamed the Seep, or seagoing Jeep. The Army thought, hey, everyone loves the Jeep, let's make it float. It was small, fast on land, and used by rear echelon troops. Why is it number 10? Because it was terrible in rough water. If a wave hit it, it sank like a rock. But it was a bold attempt at a personal amphibious car. Number 9. M29C Weasel. At number 9, the M29C Weasel. Originally designed to fight in the snow, the US added float tanks to the front and back to make it amphibious. It couldn't handle the open ocean, but in the muddy swamps of the Pacific and the flooded fields of Europe, this little tracked carrier went where no tank could go. Number 8. The LVT-A1, the Amphi-Tank. Imagine a floating tractor, but we slapped the turret of a light tank on top of it. This wasn't just for carrying troops, this was for blasting enemy bunkers while still floating in the surf. It was the grandfather of modern amphibious assault. Number 7. The LCVP, or Higgins boat. Number 7 is the face of D-Day. The LCVP, or Higgins boat. Okay, it had no wheels, so it couldn't drive up the beach like a hovercraft, but it is the single most important ship-to-shore vehicle of the war. Eisenhower himself said we couldn't have won the war without it. It delivered the victory, one ramp drop at a time. Number 6. The LVT-2 Water Buffalo. Coming in at number 6, the LVT-2 Water Buffalo. This was the workhorse of the Marine Corps in the Pacific. Unlike the Higgins boat, this didn't stop at the water's edge. It had tracks that acted like paddles in the water and treads on land. It could climb over coral reefs that stopped other boats dead in their tracks. Number 5, the Duck. At number 5, the most famous amphibian of them all, the DUKW, simply known as the Duck. It's a 2.5-ton truck encased in a boat hull. It revolutionized logistics. Drivers could pick up supplies from a ship, drive through the surf, and keep driving 50 miles inland to the front lines without ever stopping. You can still ride these in tourist cities today. Number 4, the LVT-4. Number 4 is the upgrade. The earlier models had a major flaw. Marines had to jump over the high sides to get out, exposing them to enemy fire. The LVT-4 added a massive ramp at the rear. Now, jeeps and artillery could be driven right into the battle. It was the ultimate ship-to-shore connector. Number 3. The LVT-A4. The Marines needed bigger boom, so they took the 75mm howitzer from a tank and put it on a floating chassis. This gave the US Navy the ability to provide heavy artillery support instantly, even before the beach was secured. A true swimming tank destroyer. Number 2. The LCM. This is the heavy lifter. If you wanted to get a Sherman tank onto a beach, you used this. It bridged the gap between the ocean and the land for heavy armor. Without the LCM, the infantry would have been alone on the beaches of Normandy and Iwo Jima. And finally, at number 1, the Glidemobile, the real secret hovercraft, the Charles Fletcher Glidemobile. Yes, the US did have a hovercraft in WWII. In the early 1940s, an American inventor named Charles Fletcher created a vehicle that trapped a cushion of air underneath it to glide over water and land. It was tested, but the U.S. government classified it as top secret and seized the invention. Because the engines of the time weren't powerful enough, it never saw combat. But technically, the USA did have a hovercraft prototype during the war. So while we didn't have modern LCACs zooming around in 1944, the ducks and water buffaloes were the true amphibious heroes of the generation. Which one would you like to take for a spin? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more military history deep dives. See you on the next one.